This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We have 11 games on the Monday to kick off our main slate here. Starting off 7 o'clock Eastern Time, a couple of games. Knicks, Hornets, Clippers, Cavs, all the way to 9 p.m. late night hammer. Milwaukee versus Denver. Marquee matchup there between Giannis and Jokic. A lot to talk about in between. Some pretty good matchups overall. Your guy Grande right here will be on the playbook for Monday. If you're guys tuning in, haven't already liked the stream, subscribe to the channel, don't know what you're waiting for. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the comment button, hit the subscribe button. Help support what we got going on here at the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. Sir Grande, how was your weekend, my friend?
Solid weekend overall. Solid 11-game slate to kick off the work week. A lot of injury tags, a lot of news that we're probably going to have to sift through during the day.
Yep.
So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, 100% here. Just taking a look at some of the matchups. Like I said, that we got on the board, talking about some game totals that we're going to be looking at. A couple ones we do have, a lot that we don't yet. We're at the time of recording because, as you mentioned, there is a lot of injury news up in the air. Right now, we got Cleveland at home getting 2 and a 225 total there. Utah, Brooklyn, 232 total there. Brooklyn giving a point. Ben Simmons expected to make his return for Brooklyn in this game. Next game here, Sacramento, Memphis, 226.5. Memphis is getting 8 at home. Washington, San Antonio, Spurs giving 4 at home, a 241.5 there. And then Milwaukee, Denver, 240.5 total there. Denver giving 4.5. The rest of the games on this slate, we do not have totals or spreads yet at the time of recording here. So definitely make sure you check out the playbook as it gets released. Be in the Discord for all the updates. And, of course, we'll be back here live at 5 o'clock Eastern time to get you guys all ready and up to date for what is going on with this 11 gamer. But with that being said, let's just jump into it. Point guard position here, Luka Doncic's 11-8. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 10-1. Devin Booker's $9,800. Jalen Brunson up to $9,300 now. Dame Lillard at 91. Those are your 9K and above guards. Luka coming off of a 73 fantasy point game. 73 actual point game. Followed that up by just a measly 28, 10, and 17. The game after that here, he's got Orlando, who will be on a back-to-back after playing on Sunday. SGA, Minnesota. Booker's got Miami. Of course, Booker himself had quite a day the other day. 62 actual the day that Luka did his 70-point game. So a lot of going on here.
Yeah, obviously, like, getting to Luka is perfectly fine. In any way you really shape it, he probably should be 12K considering the new Kyrie Irving was already rolled out. But alas, still under 12K. So you could definitely get to Luka, pace down spot, but it doesn't really matter. SGA, tough matchup. I would say the wheels do not run as smoothly when Mike Conley is not in the lineup for Minnesota after blowing that game against San Antonio the other day. So I'd be okay getting to SGA if there's no Conley, and not because they're directly matched up with another. Minnesota just doesn't look the same without Conley as that veteran presence. So monitor that. Booker obviously has the ceiling. Miami looks terrible. They've lost a bunch of games in a row, so you can get to Booker. Brunson's going to be this price and probably higher with the news that Julius Randle is out for however long Julius Randle is going to be out for. So, I mean, elite matchup for Jalen Brunson. And we'll see how the Knicks respond. I expect if it is going to be a extended injury with the separated or extended absence with a separated shoulder, that we're going to see the Knicks make a move. Not a significant one, but one that does make a difference within this Knicks team. But while that goes on, this is the Jalen Brunson show. So really hard not to want to just pay up for Brunson after, like, Luka, basically.
Especially against Charlotte. We just saw Colin Sexton, have 20 actual, I think it was, by half against them the other day. We know Charlotte, Jalen Green, obviously monster performance against them previously. So Hornets, not a team you can certainly target and attack. And I agree with 100%. Brunson there. Obviously, SGA is averaging 53 fantasy points, and Booker and Luka are on different levels. When you go down to the 8K tier, you have De'Aaron Fox at 88. We still got Nate Edwards sitting here in this mid 5K range. Jamal Murray is $8,300 in what has been one of the better matchups for point guards this season. James Harden also at $8,300.
Yeah, it's Murray for me in this tier of you can play anyone in tournaments, but it's Jamal Murray. Really good matchup for guards. Milwaukee did have a really good game the other day. That's fine. Murray's been really good all year long, and now the minutes restriction is off. This is a ceiling type game for Jamal.
Ceiling game, 100%. High total, close spread for Jamal Murray in this spot. Moving our way down the list, though, we do have Darius Garland, obviously still listed as out, but I think I saw Evan Mobley is supposed to be coming back. So something to at least consider as we talk Cleveland here. I know we didn't really go in on Donovan Mitchell, who is probable for Monday, but obviously Garland impacts when he comes back, but Mobley being back, something to watch for. Van Vliet, 7,500 at home against the Lakers here. McCollum on the road against Boston. Boston blown out at home against the Clippers. Now their second home loss. He's just 7K though. D'Angelo Russell at just 7K. And then our guy, Colin Sexton down here, $6,900.
Nice. Van Vliet has a really good spot. I really like attacking the Lakers defensively. So if you want to get to Van Vliet, Jabari Smith is back, but we know Van Vliet has a massive ceiling.
And you pointed out how bad the Lakers are against 3-point shooting. So
3-point shooting is definitely their Achilles heel. So if you want to get to Van Vliet, I'm in. Probably not going to get to McCollum. Not because I don't think he can have a ceiling. I would rather just play the guys around him. Van Vliet, Russell's been on a tear. That overtime and second overtime, he went nuclear and continues to just basically like, don't trade me, please.
You don't need another point guard. I'm right here.
Yeah, and then why are we a price decrease? It is what it is for Colin Sexton. It's gonna be another situation where. Yeah, this is not the best pace matchup. And by that, I mean, it's a terrible one. Brooklyn 25th in pace this year, but...
Did we ever get clarity on what the hell happened here against the Wizards?
No, he quite literally said he's playing off feel. So he did not like the feeling of that game. And
he didn't like 25 fantasy points in 17 minutes? Right.
He went to... he more realistic, didn't like 4 for 11 shooting probably, and then just said, you know what, let me get... something else out there, something else out there, and but Brooklyn 17th in defensive rating this year. We know they're deficient. Do we know if Cam Johnson is still out? He's back. Okay,
he's back. Yeah.
Finney Smith being out is a big deal. Simmons should return, but play limited minutes, so it's still a good matchup. Without Finney Smith, we should see Cam Thomas probably get extended, which is obviously a good deal for opposing. Guards and wings because he's a bad defender. So I'm perfectly fine getting to Colin Sexton.
Yep. Other guys down here under 7K, some rattling off some names. Not a lot of guys we've played a lot of. I think I have some interest in Vassell here, but Beal, Derek White, Tyler Hero, and Rozier now super cheap because Rozier can't get shots off seemingly in his role there, and then Tyler Hero, again, he's doesn't have the ability to have the ceiling 18, 14, 15, 14 shots with Butler, Rozier. There's feels like, again, another team that has too many mouths to feed. You do have the battle of the Jones brothers again, assuming Trey is in or out. I don't even, where is Trey Jones? Am I skipping
58. He's 58. He's good.
All right. So Trey Jones and Tyus Jones will be in. They just had this matchup against one another recently. What are we thinking in the 6K range?
I actually think, name value aside, I like the Joneses.
Sure.
Tyus has been super consistent, really good matchup against the Spurs. 32 fantasy points or more in 3 of the last 4 for Tyus, including 2 double-figure assist games, almost 3 in that span where he had 9. And then Trey, 28 minutes on the second leg of a back-to-back, double-double, 33 fantasy points. He's now gone for 30 or more fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games. Mm-hmm. And the only one he played 24 minutes because he was limited. Wish we knew that, but he was limited due to the ankle injury. Right. So I am good on the Joneses there.
Sure. 100% agree with you on that one as well. Other guys in this 5K range, again, Westbrook now under 6K, Monk's $5,600, Markel Fultz 52. Well, the back-to-back here for Orlando. Conchar, what are your thoughts on the value point guards?
I don't have a lot of interest. I mean, it is worth mentioning Dinwiddie's price, but then again, he's played 30 minutes back-to-back games. We've seen this show before.
Yep.
Could be 19 tomorrow. We never know, but very good spot for Brooklyn. Really good pace environment for them.
At home.
Yep. Yeah, at home and bottom 10 defense. So there's going to be appeal from me for some Brooklyn guys, but I don't necessarily know if that's Dinwiddie, but 30 plus minutes. Conchar, again, I mean, they're like winning / competitive in games right now.
Yeah,
so kind of is what it is. Like 4,800 it's getting up there, but 27, 21, 31, 27 fantasy points in 4 straight games, 26 plus minutes in all of them. He's a good peripheral stat guy. He's not going to score you a lot of points. So it is Derrick Rose, I guess, listed questionable. That's just like a fake questionable tag, it seems like at this point. And I also assume Kennard plays because he sat there last back-to-back. So I think a little downgrade to Conchar, but it's a good matchup against the Kings.
Sure. Moving on over to the shooting guard position here. Some guys we've already discussed. Paul George.
If Lamelo sits Ish Smith 4,300, he played 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't score a single point. 0 for 5 shooting, 12 assists in that game. So I would potentially get there. And then Jaden Hardy started for Dallas last game. They, I think, have listed again multiple wings as questionable. Exum listed questionable again. Derek Jones Jr. listed questionable. Maxi Kleber listed questionable. So we could see Jaden Hardy re-enter the starting lineup again.
Okay. Shooting guys, I mentioned Paul George is 81, Jaylen Brown 78, Ingram at 75, Mikal 72.
I mean, Booker and Mitchell, if you want to end up there, obviously good plays. Paul George 81. I think they're going to continue to limit him. They had previously said it prior to the back-to-back about limitations. Then they came out and flat out said, like, we're going to limit him. Maybe I for sure thought he was going to sit that Boston game. Didn't matter. They blew him out regardless. Clippers are good. This just in. So like if there's no limit, it's fine. Tough matchup. Jaylen, really good price. Ingram, really good price. Both are, I think, behind for me in terms like when it comes to them versus Bridges, who's cheaper and just in the infinite better matchup. And also at the end of the day, like Paul George, Jaylen Brown, Brandon Ingram deal with a lot more than Mikal Bridges is going to deal with when it comes to like their teams versus his. So Mikal Bridges at 7,200, I think is going to be a really, really popular play.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Again, the price tag, the production, he's going to be their leading shooter, most nights. I'm buying into that one as well. I mentioned liking Vassell. I mean, the minutes are always there for him. He's been really good. Do we know if San Antonio's playing? I mean, he played 32 and 36 on a back-to-back, so I'm hopeful Pop's like, we're good to go. But I haven't checked the Tuesday schedule here to see if San Antonio is playing or not. Let's see. They're not. All right, good to know. Well, I like the minutes. I don't mind the price here either, for given the matchup against Washington. What are your thoughts on Vassell here?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't even know if the back-to-backs matter.
Even matter, yeah.
Because not only did they play, but they won. They beat Minnesota outright. And I think that's probably what Pop is thinking. Like, I want everyone to be together when we're going to do this whole, like, play everyone back-to-back minutes. Also, I haven't loved... Vassell's been under a fantasy point per minute since Trey Jones entered the starting lineup. Now, still had 40 fantasy points, 3 last 4. You could definitely get there. Really good matchup. It's just hard. Wemby has 1.9 fantasy points per minute since Trey Jones entered the starting lineup. So, like,
he's obviously been super efficient scoring the basketball, but he is. I like him because he's also just filling up the stat sheet.
He has been.
Yeah, maybe this is a little bit more of the better in me as well. Like he's been coming through with some of the props we've been playing him on. The assist totals have been coming through, and we bet the 4.5 assists on him lately. And it's a matchup against Washington, but this could very well be a Wemby game now that the minutes cap is continuing to rise on him for sure. Middleton 65, Brendan Miller $6,500. A couple of tough games for Brandon Miller lately after that super hot run. At home against Houston, at home against Utah, did 37 minutes against Utah, did nothing with those minutes there. That's kind of disappointing there. Now he gets the Knicks. I mean, maybe the Knicks identity changes a little bit without Julius Randle there, but what's your thoughts on the 6K tier here?
I don't think their identity is going to get any better or any worse. I assume Hart starts, so now it's bully of Randall to like do everything Josh Hart. So I like the minutes. I like the potential shot attempts for Miller. I would like it more if LaMelo was out.
Okay. Clarkson here, $6,300. We talked about it the other day against the Wizards, like finding your pivot off of Sexton. Well, the gap in price continues to rise between the two. Does Clarkson continue to be a viable pivot for you in these spots, or are we just continue just riding Sexton at this point?
You can play him in tournaments.
Okay. Below them, Jalen Green, someone we talked about a little bit. Cam Thomas at 6K. THJ, if guys are out of the lineup at 59. Anybody in the Knicks get a bump here? DDV, Josh Hart, things like that for you?
I would love to say Cam Thomas, but with Ben Simmons back, I don't know how this rotation is going to look necessarily. I know Finney-Smith is out, but he would have to start coming off 37 actual. I mean, that's definitely in play if he's in the starting lineup. THJ going to come off the bench. He just, if he doesn't score like a lot of actual points, there's not a seemingly like a really high ceiling. He just is what he is, kind of. So I think DiVincenzo figures to get a minutes bump, but 5,900 is not the best price for him. I don't really love any of that tier. Truthfully, not much that I like.
Where's your next go? We got under 6K here. Grayson Allen, Jordan Poole, Monk, as we touched upon, Levert, Strus. Anybody? Dylan Brooks? Anyone for you?
Probably Herter at 5,200. He's been really good lately. 36 fantasy points or more in 3 of his last 4 games, playing 30+ minutes a night. So Kevin Herter, 52. Dylan Brooks, $5,000. I guess if Conley's out, you can go to the NAW route again. He was good the other day.
I'm gonna keep playing Norm Powell, man. I mean, I get last game against Boston, but I'm not going to hold that as like the measuring stick. They won by a ton. He only played 17 minutes in that. Why is his price going down? Why is he $4,400
here? There's been more bad than good lately. I know what you're saying, but that's just, I think.
But even as it gets down, like his bad, I mean, yes, this blowout didn't help, right? This tough game, 2 of 10 shooting. But I mean, if the price keeps getting cheaper, you only need fewer and fewer points to pay it off, and we know what his ceiling can be. And if Paul George is also limited, I mean, I don't know. To me, this feels like way too cheap of a price for what we could be getting out of Norm Powell here.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good basketball player on a team that is just kind of like constricting what he probably can be if he was playing on like Memphis, right?
Right. Yep, agreed.
Speaking
of
Memphis,
shooting guard,
I guess the Zaire Williams day. I guess plays 30 minutes the other day, 14 minutes today. Guess the Dennis Smith Jr. game. If you get the Dennis Smith Jr. game, you win a prize, probably win a tournament. But I think that's it.
All righty. Moving on over to small forward here. We have LeBron James at 94. Jason Tatum is down at $9,200. Kind of an interesting price point for him there. I know he's probably going to get the Herb Jones treatment there. Laurie's at 82 though. Kawhi is at 82. Some cheaper price tags for these guys here.
I loved LeBron the other day. Him and Steph. I actually joint cover Boyd, so that turned out well for the NBA DFS playbook over on FantasyAlarm.com.
Yeah.
48 minutes. I wonder if this is a game where the Lakers are just like, you did a good job.
Yeah.
And you had a career high in rebounds, and you hit 2 free throws, and now Skip Bayless can't say anything bad about you to win that game. Take a day off. If there's ever a day, right? 48 minutes, but if he plays Houston has not been very good defensively, so I'd be okay getting LeBron. All these competitive games, LeBron's been having monster games. There's still no point in him being 9,400. He's more of a 10K player. Definitely can get the Tatum in tournaments, even though, other than the big Dallas game, it's kind of been back to that like 40s, and we're healthy, so everybody eats on this team, and
he's just not 10K anymore. He's 92.
yeah,
right?
but he's 92, so that's where there's definitely some room for upside. $1,000 cheaper, like Markkinen is just so good. I mean, the fact that he's ever been floated around in trades, and they said that they made it. I don't think he's available anymore now that Utah's like,
he's good.
Yeah, we should kind of keep this guy. Seems like 8,200 is just gonna continue to be too cheap. Like this guy should be hovering around 9K, maybe higher. Kawhi, fine. This whole tier, I don't know what to make of Jimmy. He went nuclear last game, trying to do everything, still couldn't get over the hump. They still got smoked. They've lost a bunch of games in a row. Like Phoenix is on a back-to-back, and they haven't been good. I mean, or they got blown out by
by Orlando. Yeah, in Orlando. Second night on the road. Granted, it's in Florida, but
Yeah, now you have to go. Yeah, I mean, right. So, I don't know. Jimmy 7,600. It's a pretty good price tag.
Yeah, I agree with you. Other guys down here, Franz Wagner had a pretty big game. Again, they're on the second leg of a back-to-back. Jalen Williams is $7,100. You would assume OG Anunoby is going to take some sort of boost here without Julius Randle. Somebody's got to take a step up, whether it's him or is it DDV, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart. Like somebody's going to be playing bigger minutes, have bigger opportunity. He's had a couple of pop games lately as well. So, and it's a good matchup. $6,600 for OG could be something we start playing more.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull up not the best on-air content, but I'm trying to figure out what we have for. If I just take Julius Mitch Robinson off the court, let's see what we have for OG is at 0.88 fantasy points per minute. Mm-hmm. I can live if OG beats me at 6,600.
But what else is what are the other leaders here? Obviously Brunson.
Brunson 1.2, Hartenstein 1.07.
Okay.
Grimes 0.94. We'll get to him. He's 3,700. DiVincenzo 0.8. Hart 0.8. So everyone's like, it's like based Brunson and Hartenstein, and then everybody else.
Sure. Yeah, I can almost. I mean, I guess we'll see. I can envision OG now knowing that there's like full game stretches where he might be worked to get more involved than previously. That there could be more opportunities for him, because I do like the price, and the matchup against Charlotte obviously is appealing. Our boy Vince Williams, took that hard hat again, put it on 20-8 today against the Pacers. Against Orlando, much tougher matchup. 11, 5, 4, and 2 blocks. And price tag doesn't really ever change on this dude. Sacramento is generally a good matchup. I'm willing to keep plugging him in.
Yeah, very safe floor ceiling combination.
Anybody else down here 6K and below?
Denny in tournaments is a good matchup for him. We mentioned Cam Thomas, Keldon's actually been really good over the last few games, a couple of games rather, but 30 minutes and 27 minutes. I would like to see the 30 minutes more often than not. Interesting to see Michael Porter's price dip down after 2 bad games, but sub 6K Michael Porter always piques my interest a little bit.
Yeah, 35 minutes against Philly, he had 20 actual, so not terrible.
Back home, we know that Denver is just. I mean, even look at Michael Porter's numbers. He's shooting significantly better at home. He's scoring significantly more at home. Basically, I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm sure Michael Porter has developed that built-in advantage, just like his cardio and
right. Yeah.
I mean,
and we always talk about teams traveling into Denver.
Yeah,
generally struggle here.
Yeah, it's just tough.
Yeah, agreed. Anybody else as we move our way down the small forward? Again, Josh Hart's up to $5,400, played 32 minutes, 14 and 9. Could be flirting with double-doubles here at a pretty low price tag, knowing the rebounding could be available to them. Harrison Barnes, 20 actual now against Dallas, 3 straight games, 32, 39, and 20 actual. Still under 5K, still knocking down threes. It's Memphis. Are you finally willing to throw him in a lineup here, James? So what's it got to take?
I need him traded. That's what I need. I need him traded. I need these trade rumors for Harrison Barnes to come true. So he just goes somewhere like where he's like coming off the bench playing like 24 minutes or something, because not losing because I cashed, but like seeing a winning lineup with Harrison Barnes and Grant Williams the other night was just so sickening, because Grant Williams had 50 fantasy points, and it's just like, that's whatever. If I lose because of that, whatever. It really is. And I still feel the same way. Like, I'm not gonna. I get it. I get he's been better. He has shot the shit out of the ball. I don't know what else to say. He's just.
We always knew he was a good shooter, but like the 20 back-to-back 20 shot attempt games was out of nowhere. I mean, I would expect more of the 11 shot attempt games, but then he's gone 6 of 11, 4 of 7 shooting. So maybe he knows, dude. The trade deadline is a week and a half away. So it was next Thursday is the NBA trade deadline. Not this upcoming Thursday, the Thursday following. So maybe we'll find himself on a new team there. You mentioned already NAW, if people are out, Josh Green's $4,600. Our guy Fontecchio, I mean, he did get the minutes, 27 minutes, just didn't really hit any shots. He was also limited against Washington the game before that, but did give you 22 fantasy points. So a guy that's always live to knock down a couple of threes. I think we'll still put him in our player pool here.
Yeah. In the player pool, for sure. So
it's a lot of 4K plays I find myself willing to throw into lineups so far.
A lot of 4K plays. Yep. Let's see. Anything else? I would probably, when you look at the Quentin Grimes minutes of late, like, we know now, I think Quentin Grimes is actually probably a better player than he has just had the opportunity to be in New York. He has been fine, like, this year as a 3-point shooter, 37%. I think he's going to be like a 40% 3-point shooter for his career. And he's been pretty good being extended the last 2 games, 23 and 24 minutes, 21, 25 fantasy points. Again, he's actually been relatively good without Randall and Mitchell Robinson this year. And that's not even fully removing RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly off the floor.
Right.
I didn't need to do that for OG. Like, those guys were off the floor. Right. So, I'd be okay. My assumption is Josh Hart starts, and then DiVincenzo, Grimes, maybe Precious gets extended. Like, we see like Precious and Sims playing like some small ball.
I said, could you see Precious playing the 4 at or something like that? I mean,
we'll see how the rotation is going to shake out, because again, OG and Hart seemingly OG and Hart are going to play all the 4, so they probably stagger them, which does put Quentin Grimes, I think, on the floor. I mean, they're taking Julius Randle off the floor. He averages 35 minutes a game.
Yeah. So
like, there's a lot of minutes to be
had. Sure. Power forward position here. Giannis is 11-4. Durant's $9,500. Victor Wembanyama still under 9K at $8,900. Hard not to, be willing to play any of those 3. I think obviously Giannis and Wemby probably above Durant here for me.
I'm not sure Wemby's not like 1. I don't know, like, at this point. Just like, I know there hasn't necessarily been like, we just have like such a safe floor with Victor Wembanyama right now at 30 minutes. If that's like, we're really going to get 30 minutes back to back. That was the second leg of a back to back. They're winning games. They're home favorites here.
And at some point there will be no cap.
And there will be no cap. I mean, because like, at that point he's priced with AD at 10K, and he's not going to be 11-4, I don't think, but
nope.
I love Giannis, but
I'm even in agreement with you. I mean, 50 fantasy points, He did that in 28 minutes against Washington. I know it's only a couple other minutes, but he gave you 55 and 28 against OKC. We all talk all the time. We're looking for 5x upside, and right now at 9K, essentially, if he's giving you 50, you're getting more than that. You're getting 5.5. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Wemby for sure. Giannis, again, I have them both above KD. We know what KD can do. He had the back-to-back 40 actual games. He's ceded some of that to Booker lately, but always liable to pop off. Banchero had a pretty big day on Sunday. We know Lauri Markkanen and Leonard, great price tags. Jaren Jackson's been having some really big games. He's $8,100. Miles Bridges is 8K. What are your thoughts in this next tier below Wemby?
My only worry with Jackson here is that it's a Sabonis matchup now that they've gone to this like full-blown Jaren Jackson at center lineup. On one hand, it's like, all right, guy's taking 30 shots if he's on the floor. On the other hand, it's like, well, if he's not on the floor like he was in the Indiana game, he's going to it's because he has foul trouble. Right. And that's going to happen a lot when it's Domantas Sabonis on the other side of the floor. So I'm good with Jackson in tournaments. If there's no LaMelo Ball, I'm also super good with Miles Bridges as long as he's still on the team because
the Suns want him.
Yeah, it's just sickening. He played 41 minutes in that game, and it was like a 30-point game. They had that like the PJ Washington experience that will never happen probably ever again the way it did. But he shot them back into the game, and Bridges was just like, all right, I had my big first half, you have the big second half, but I'll keep getting like rebounds and assists and 50 fantasy points. Dude, I mean, like, you could play him with LaMelo Ball, too. I'm just saying, if there's no LaMelo Ball, it's just like the Miles Bridges show.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Towns 8K, Kuzma 79, Zion 73. Porzingis will have to wait and see, but he's 77. We talked Jalen Williams, some of these other guys already. 7K below range. Any one particular player stand out above the rest?
I mean, I do like Kuzma here. He's been super consistent lately. 48, 39, 39, 38, 37, 35, 48, 45, 35, 48, 35. That's like a 10-game span of just 35 plus fantasy points. Gets a really good matchup against the Spurs. Shot really poorly against them the first time they've played, but I do like what his ceiling can be. And if he's going to take this many shots, new coach comes in, 24, 27 shots. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but if that's something that he like the scheme or something.
He's also on the trade block too. So
he is on the trade block. Maybe he's trying to play for something, but it is worth mentioning, like interim head coach, 51 shots in 2 games. Like it's so I think Kuzma amongst the other guys stands out to me. Obviously Zion Price stands out, but it's a tough matchup. Jalen Williams Price stands out, tough matchup.
Keegan Murray here. Obviously it's tough for you to have a ton of success when Harrison Barnes is doing what he's doing, but he's actually shooting the ball well. He's kind of filling the stat sheet out. He is giving you, that 5x return at 61. John Collins is down to $5,900. You mentioned PJ Washington there. Jabari at 58. Sohan's been pretty good lately. He's $5,700. Gordon down to 56. Aldama at 54. What are your thoughts? The 5K range here.
Well, Boston might be without both. And I think Cornette too, right?
Yeah, Cornette left with an injury the other day.
Cornette's doubtful. They could be without Porzingis, Horford, Cornette, and have to play Neemias Queta and Lamar Stevens in the front court. That would be hysterical.
Celtics are on the front leg of a back-to-back here.
Okay, that makes sense. So I would, if the Horford injury is real, then there's nothing to more to say about it. If it's a fake tag where they're like putting this on him and then saying like, well, we could put this is what we're going to use for Tuesday's game, then I expect Horford to play and Porzingis not to, because Porzingis' injury is obviously real. He didn't play the other day, and That's weird. Their top 3 front court members are all questionable or doubtful.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Oof.
But they play Pacers on Tuesday, so divisional game versus non-divisional game.
Yeah.
I believe it's they're home too, so they're at least they're not traveling anywhere. So that's also kind of a plus there. Was there anybody in this 5K tier that you liked? Obviously, we talked Josh Hart a little bit already. Do you go to Aldama at 54? Anybody else?
I like Aldama if he's going to start. If this is going to continue to be the rotation that they run, where Jaren Jackson's starting at center, Aldama's power forward, they can't extend Tillman because his knee is actually terrible, then yeah, I would get to Santi, power forward, center eligible. Again, we never saw that. Like, he had that random game against the Celtics earlier in the year where I literally said to him, like, this is never going to happen again, and
Yeah.
it hasn't. But at least we know it's in the bag. He's a good basketball player, so 5,400 for Santi if he's in the starting lineup, perfectly fine.
Sure. Under 5K. Any notable names for you? I don't know if you saw what our guy Mo Wagner did on Sunday, but came out of there with a double, basically split the minutes with Wendell Carter Jr. I don't know if that's because it was the front leg of a back-to-back that they had limited him. John Isaac actually got a decent amount of run on that game as well. Kind of a weird rotation we got out of Orlando.
Yeah, second straight game they've played John Isaac 20 plus minutes. So seems like Orlando is kind of making a shift, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the trade deadline coming up and the contract that they are paying Isaac, but
he's healthy. Come get him.
He is. Yeah, I mean, it could also just be like them being like, well, this is a player that we can use, and he's really good, but he just needs to stay healthy. We'll also see if he even plays on a back-to-back, so that might be irrelevant.
Sure.
But yeah, Mo, very, very tilting situation because I may or may not have liked that matchup for Wendell Carter against Drew Eubanks.
I took the over 8.5 rebounds, so I'm right there with you. When I saw him like not coming back in the game, I was like, "Oh God, what is happening here?"
Yeah, and that is what happens sometimes with Mo Wagner. Like, when he gets going like that, it's what it is. It's another really good matchup for centers. Like, Derek Lively's a good basketball player. Maxi Kleber's good, but centers have eaten.
Is Kleber in it for this game because he had missed the game?
He played the second leg of back-to-back. He played the Sacramento game. He did not play the front leg. He's probable in this. Apparently his toe continuously dislocates, which
doesn't seem good.
Not a good thing. Apparently it's under control. The other name I would mention, it's a guy I wrote up in the playbook. I wish I played more of the other day. It's Jared Vanderbilt. He has been really good for this Lakers team of late. 25, 27, 41 minutes. He played basically over Reeves. He was playing over Prince. He just took all the extra minutes necessary. He is obviously a defensive wing first, where he can defend you probably 2 through 5. You probably can't stay with like guards, but 2 through 5. If you're going to get the scoring out of him, he's a very good rebounder as well.
Yep.
The defense is going to be there. And then if the scoring is there, they're just going to continue to play him alongside AD LeBron because the flexibility LeBron provides when it comes to like,
he can play 1 through 5, you know?
So if this is how it's going to continue to be, whether Taurean Prince is the starter or not, or whether Austin Reeves is the starter or not, Jared Vanderbilt's the guy that's going to probably continue to play mid to upper 20s minutes every night and is a really good value here.
Sure. Moving on over to center. There is obviously Jokic here at 11.3, Sabonis up to 10.2, Davis at 10K. Your 3 top priced centers on the slate.
Jokic has been super, super consistent lately. I'd be okay getting there. He's at home. Again, it's a tough place to play for opponents. Sabonis, really, really bad game against Dallas. He fouled out, barely any assists. The De'Aaron Fox game, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, like everyone did everything. Sabonis just was like, let me just do my 23rd straight double and foul out. But I'd be okay getting to Memphis again. Like, Jaren Jackson is not a center, so that is a good spot for.
Yeah, Jalen Smith had a double-double against them today. So
Jalen Smith had a double-double. Anthony Davis, perfectly fine. He's just better when it comes like when he plays with LeBron. And also it's something I cited in the playbook. The blocks were coming back. Like this is a guy, he had 1 block in 3 games and he averages 2.5 per game and then had 4 in the Gold State game. You see what the upside can be when everything's clicking. So definitely Davis. I am so disappointed in the Şengün Charlotte game. Obviously, they won by 100, and Jalen Green had 7,000 points. And
Yeah.
it is sometimes it is what it is, right? You got the guy, he goes for 40, they win by 40. What are you gonna do? But I would go back to the well here against the Lakers.
Even against Anthony Davis, not too worried about that.
It's been, I mean, it's like Davis block shots. The Lakers are just a bad defense. They've just been a bad defensive team.
Sure.
Like they play fast. There's a big peso spot for Houston. They're a bottom 10 defense. Like it's a really good matchup for Houston in general. I get what you're saying. Sometimes, I mean, we just saw Draymond almost triple double against them. Was like 2 points short.
Yeah.
He was like my favorite per dollar play the other day. Not saying this is the same situation, but the same thing could happen. Like Şengün is a Draymond light when it comes to doing a little bit of everything.
Yep. I do think Hartenstein will be the highest rostered center of the slate, probably, assuming he's all set to go. Don't you think? No Randall now.
6,900. Without looking at the rest of the position, he'll be
like, I get he played 16 minutes there in that return game for him, but I got to assume no Randall now. They might ramp that up here.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we'll see, right? Like if let's see what they are saying about his minutes, because if there is any type of limit, I would probably
avoid at the 69. I would agree, but we saw him play 41 and 39, right? So we know what the ceiling can be, right? And now you take Randall out of the equation. He was already a rebounding monster there,
right?
You got Claxton at 69. You've been high on playing Claxton lately. Some of these other guys down here below 6K. Anybody stand out for you?
Dude, I do like this Claxton matchup for the record. As long as Aaron Sharp's going to continue to be out, I guess the caveat here is, could we see Ben Simmons minutes at the 5? Right? I think that's probably a possibility that maybe Claxton loses a couple minutes to Simmons at the 5, but maybe this is more of a reason to just actually play Ben Simmons at the point guard. Other than that, though, I mean, Gafford at 6K. Like, I know we want.
Was he last in this game? Right?
We want back. He's been good outside of the Minnesota game. Okay. At least, I mean, even in the Jokic, 30 minutes against Jokic, 31 against Utah. Like the minutes have been.
He just didn't play in the last San Antonio game. So I wonder if Wemby hurts him here.
Wemby also spends a lot of time on the perimeter. Sure. He needs to, and then there's time he could be dominant wherever he goes, but he does shoot a lot of threes. It's something that Popovich wants him to do less of. I'd be okay getting to Gafford. There's a ceiling. Same thing with Collins. I've liked what John Collins has provided. I think so has.
Yeah.
I mean, almost 3 straight double doubles, 33, 46, 38 fantasy points. He continues to kind of just be really consistent. And then, I mean, dude, Nick Richards the other day was just. I mean, if Hartenstein is a very good defensive stat stuffer, and he's very good rebounder and stuff. Nick Richards is a pretty good player, and you've been saying that for quite a while. And now we've seen 30 plus fantasy points, 3 double doubles in 4 games. So, no LaMelo Ball could lead me to playing a lot of Nick Richards. I might play Nick Richards with LaMelo Ball too.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to go Nick Richards. Again, we know what he can be. We've seen him be a fantasy point per minute monster. The 36 minutes is something that, I think is nice to see. We've only really gotten that once or twice this year. 38 minutes against Denver, 43 fantasy points, 38 minutes here against Chicago. Struggled a little bit, but seeing some big 30s there in a good spot. I'm happy to go back to that spot for you there. Anybody else at center for you? You mentioned Lively. He's 5K. Kessler's 46.
Yeah, be okay getting to Lively. Good to see the 31 minutes even with Kleba back. Kessler, never can get him right. Probably just going to avoid with Collins playing so well. I think Eubanks, if Nurkic is out again, Eubanks played 29 minutes on Sunday, 4 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, kind of guy who can stuff the stat sheet. Really tough matchup, but 4,500 is cheap. That
Mentioned
was
Vanderbilt already. You can play him down here.
Kelly. I mean, like, I don't know what to do with Kelly Olynyk, but like we're on a heater right now. So like when you get a Kelly O heater,
he only took 2 shots in that game, but he had 8 assists and 9 rebounds. So
he's a madman at times. Like, he is actually just a freak of nature when it comes to fantasy point production. I will say, if he's 4K and we're getting like 29 or 21, 18 minutes, I'd be perfectly fine with getting to Kelly Olynyk.
He's fine. I like Larry Nance still at $3,900. And if all of the Celtics guys are out, you do have Neemias Queta here at $3,600 that probably could start at center.
I wonder what they would do if all 3 of those guys are ruled out. Is it just Queta, Brissett, Queta, Stevens, Queta, Tatum, small ball
if you
5?
play Stevens or Brissett, obviously Valanciunas just massive size advantage in that spot.
You also probably don't. Is Valanciunas even like on the floor at that point? Is it just?
I guess it depends on how much he's dominating, right? Like, if they don't have an answer for him, but if they space them out and make him a liability, then maybe they throw Nance in there. But at least Queta can match up size wise, and we've obviously seen what he's capable of doing in limited minutes this year, and he's been given some opportunities to play. So, $3,600 for value there. Sure. Let's get a lineup build. I like the Vanderbilt call. I think getting some value there, and you pointed out Nick Richards. I'm happy to go there too, just for some cheap plays, and we can kind of build up. We talked Wemby.
Yeah,
plug him in at 4. That's 62.40. Let's see. Do we get Brunson's 93? We mentioned there was a lot of 4K guys that I was at least comfortable putting into some lineups here. Contrar's there at 48. Let's see. Fontecchio 44. Grant Williams is 44. Norm's 44. Any like 4K plays stick out to you more than the others?
No, we could plug any of those guys. I'd be fine with it.
All right. Who do you think plays the most? Harry B, $4,800.
I mean, of the guys you mentioned, like, I think Norm probably consistently plays the most, but everything else is like kind of
sure. Oh, I like Norm. I'm happy to oblige you on the call out there. Powell, shooting guard for now, $4,400. That's $5,800 for a small forward guard and utility. Let's see. Some guys down in the 6K range.
Dylan Brooks 5K. The only problem with Dylan Brooks is he's gonna guard LeBron, and that's just like he thinks he's the LeBron whisperer. Josh Hart 54.
Yeah, happy to go Hart.
And or Quentin Grimes 37. One of the two. I think more Knicks the better. Also, if you think the Knicks blow Charlotte out, like Quentin Grimes is. I'm not saying we have to play all 3, but just an option. I'm
happy to do 3. I mean, we've played a bunch before, so
yeah.
$8,400 here gives us for util. Jamal Murray, plug him in, walk him home. Jalen Brunson, Norm Powell, Josh Hart, Jared Vanderbilt, Nick Richards, Quentin Grimes, Victor Wembanyama, Jamal Murray, giving ourselves 3 guys up over 8K in this lineup again. I don't know what it is, James. We went a whole season. We're complaining about lack of value plays, and DraftKings is giving us quite a few guys worthy of throwing into some lineups here under 5K for this 11-game Monday slate. And we'll be back live 5 o'clock Eastern time. James will be on your playbook. If you have any questions, get us in the Discord. But till then, everybody, we'll catch you all later.